Welcome back for more Cycling Road. I believe we are almost done with this place. I think I can see the cliff that corresponds with the beginning of Route 16 from here. Yeah, this area, I didn't talk about it much in the last video, but yeah, it's just like in all the other generations, you go downwards automatically. It's not like in Generation 1 where whenever you were going up, you were going at the speed of slow, which was really annoying. Instead, you go full speed, but as soon as you let go of that button, you're going back down. And it's sort of annoying when you're trying to talk to someone because the bike goes especially fast. So if you're trying to land above someone, sometimes you're going to fail as well, which is what happened in the last video. So, turns out I was right, and this is Route 16. I believe there aren't any trainers on this route, actually, in this game, and they also remade the layout of the route a little bit. If you remember, this was the route where you got the Fly HM in red, blue, yellow, fire, red, leaf, green, and for that you had, I don't think you had to get that Snorlax out of the way. No, I remember going for it as soon as I came out of the rock tunnel in my red LP. But they changed the layout of this place a little bit because now the tree has been moved over there, and you don't have to go through a special area of the toll booth anymore. And there's the only grass on Route 16, and this is the house I was talking about that gave you the Fly HM in those Kanto games. I wonder if there's anything of note here. Hello, hello, would you like to hear Trendy saying adult anime? There's nothing more trendy than adult anime. Education! Education is now trendy, which is why I guess... What?! Oh. Do you remember my Nidorino? What of it? It's a perfect match for me. That's it! Well, then again, what did I expect from a random phone call? But yeah, education is trendy! I guess this is why so many kids don't even finish high school these days. Guess this old guy has no idea of what trendy actually means in the first place. Now, don't worry, I'm not dissing education. It's very important to not ever give up on school, at least until you have a diploma that you can actually get a job with, but I'm not here to talk about that now, am I? Now I'm gonna get that Crobat back, since I'm not gonna need Furret for a little while, and as a result, I'm going to be able to fly back to Fuchsia City, because now I am completely done with that trainer fighting blitz that started in Vermilion and went all the way to Fuchsia, then back to Celadon. So, yeah, it's time to take on the Fuchsia City Gym. I wonder if Old Man Pervert is still there. He's not looking at the gym anymore. Well, that's a relief, because this gym is great. It's full of underage girls. And yeah, the gimmick of this gym, if you remember in the Kanto games, there were invisible walls that were made visible by a certain cue. I don't really know how to call that, but they were actually sort of visible. But now they're actually invisible. You only get you only see them when you actually run into them. And on top of that, they added something else. All the trainers, all the underlings, look exactly like Janine, so you have to go through these trainers and eventually find which one is the real Janine. And I think I've already mentioned this, but Janine is the daughter of Koga, former gym leader of Fuchsia and current Elite Four member. And, okay, I feel stronger dressing up as Janine. Okay, well that was random, and you saw the invisible walls right there and right there. And, this gym is great! It's full of underage cross-dressers! Sorry, I just had to say it because, come on, we have a guy dressing up as Janine. That is not creepy at all. But anyway, enough about that. There's actually something that I intended on talking about. You know, in my Emerald LP, at some point, I pointed you guys towards a fake dex of Black and White. This was back when the only two Pokemon that were revealed were Zorua and Zoroark. Someone actually made a full Pokédex pretending that those were actually going to be the Pokemon that were going to be in the game. And you know that bullshit that can turds usually say about Generation 4 and 5 Pokemon not looking like Pokemon? Well, if you want to see Pokemon that don't look like Pokemon, look no further than this fake Dex. Every last so-called new Pokemon on there was absolutely horrible. Nonetheless, the reason why I'm talking about it today is that one of you guys pointed out that that fake Dex actually called something pretty well, surprisingly. Though I guess you could say it was bound to happen with like 300 new Pokemon, that something might end up being related to actually existing Pokemon due to the laws of probability. And the thing is that on that fake Dex, there were, two evolutionary lines similar to the Nidos in that one is male and one is a female. And the thing is that those evolutionary lines were jellyfish. The male line was blue, and and the female line was pink. Sound familiar, anyone? Yeah, if I didn't know any better, I would have imagined that Game Freak actually took a look at that fake Dex and liked the idea of having, jellyfish Pokemon that are differently colored depending on their gender, and went with it. But personally, I'm chalking this up to coincidence. A very bizarre coincidence, but a coincidence nonetheless. And of course, they just couldn't afford to take those jellyfish Pokemon and make them real because they sucked just as much as the rest. But still, it's just something that something mentioned in the comments of that video, and something that I felt like pointing out because it's actually pretty funny when you think about it. Oh, and by the way, while I'm speaking of that, I said in that video that no regional Dex was complete without Zubat and Geodude, because that fake Dex didn't have Zubat and Geodude. Well, as it turns out, the joke's on me, because as it turns out, Zubat and Geodude aren't in the Unova Dex. Instead, make way for Roggenrola and Woobat. Though I guess if I had to venture a guess, I would say that people hate Boldore even more than Zubat, because there's almost no way to one-hit KO that fucker, and it just keeps popping up in caves. So yeah, more annoying than Zubat, I can actually fully get behind that. Oh, and while I'm on the subject of actually calling stuff that would end up being in black and white, someone that you guys mentioned when I talked about Damn Swampert yesterday is that I think it was issue number 7 of the Smog that actually was talking about abilities that belonged on certain Pokemon, and that issue actually said that Damp on Swampert would be amazing because back then it used to be huge explosion bait, but now, and guess what happened? Now, Swampert actually got its new Dream World ability, and it turned out to be Damp. The problem is that with Team Preview and Explosion's nerf, it's now entirely useless, so had it had that last gen, it might have been useful, but here, nope, not really. Anyway, as you can see, we've beaten all the underlings, so that only leaves the real deal, Janina Fuchsia Gym. That's me. So, Gym Leader Battle number 13. That's right, we only have 3 left after this one. And she's going to be starting out with Crobat, while I lead with my trusty Lugia. Now, am I going to outspeed? No, I figured as much, because Lugia's fast, but Crobat's even faster. And Confuse Ray, well, great way to start off this battle, right? And, oh yeah, I actually get to land that Psychic. Now to see if it's going to one-hit KO it. Crobat isn't really known for its bulk, but Lugia is hardly known for its offense either. So there we go, I'm going to be able to cash in on my free switch. Ariados, I think it's my cue to bring Tyranitar in and smash it with a Stone Edge. Okay, so, and by the way, I remembered her levels being much lower than that, like 40, 42, 44, that kind of stuff, and hey! Look, it's the return of the old classic, Stone Edge doesn't hit, coming soon to a movie theater near you. But yeah, for some reason, I actually remembered her levels being much lower than that. She still has the lowest levels of any Kanto gym leader, but they're actually a lot more reasonable. In Gold, Silver, Crystal, they were like in the 30s and stuff. Anyway, this time Stone Edge connects, and I'm not expecting that Ariados to survive it, of course not. Now, what's next? Sandstorm Rages, Leftovers Recovery. Can we go a little faster, please? Ariados, another one? Wow, okay. Seems to have a death wish, then I'm gladly going to grant it the death it so desires. So this one is going to die to Stone Edge as well. No real surprise there. So, Sandstorm. Leftovers Recovery. If there's anything I like about Black and White, it's how that crap is so much faster. Venomot, I think that's her ace. So I'm going to pull out Tyranitar just in case I'm faced with a Bug Buzz. Lugia is faster, and it's going to be more accurate as well. I don't want to be risking that shaky Stone Edge accuracy right now if I'm going to be taking Bug Buzzes left and right. By the way, I'm not sure it has Bug Buzz. I haven't checked the Poké-Earth, but it doesn't matter either way because, wow, timely critical hit there. I don't know if the non-critical would have killed, probably, but this is why I went with Aeroblast because of the increased chance of critical. Last Pokemon is Weezing, so I'm going to be keeping Lugia in because Weezing only has one weakness, and it's Psychic. And Lugia, well, I guess I could use Lapras, but Lugia has Stab on Psychic, so it has a better shot of taking down that Weezing. Even though Weezing is physically defensive, not very much on special defense, but doesn't matter either way. Lugia pulls through and wins the battle for me. So that means I am now up to 13 badges. That's right, only 3 more to go after this. And yes, now she realizes that, I've already beaten her father, even though, her levels are actually higher than the first fight against Koga this time around. Probably, they probably didn't feel forced, to give her really crappy levels, because I'm going to rematch Koga later on at much higher levels. So if I were to fight Koga now, his levels would be much higher than Janine's. By the way, she gave me the Poison Jab TM, 80 power, 100% accuracy, and a 30% chance of poisoning. Now, it's sort of odd to see, that there's a 30% chance of poisoning on moves like Poison Jab and Sludge Bomb, but maybe they realize that, Poison's a really crappy offensive type, so they give those moves a really high chance of actually getting hacks. So, now that this is done, we are not going to head to Diglett's Cave and then Pewter City quite yet. As I promised, we're going to be taking care of Suicune first. That's right, over 50 videos after I caught its brothers, cousins, whatever, it's actually time to round up that trio. First, I'm going to heal my team real quick, and after that, I'm going to take a look and see if I have enough Dusk Balls to do the job. So, let's see now. 17 Dusk Balls. Well, if I waste them all, it would be a good idea to reset anyway, to not waste that much money. Gengar is going in the lead since it's my sleeper, and obviously, it's always a good idea to put the opposing Pokemon to sleep if you want to catch him. Of course, I didn't do it for Snorlax for reasons I've already explained, but for Suicune, I'm not going to really have that much trouble because it's mostly a defensive Pokemon, and it's only at level 40. Either way, I'm going to wait until night to catch it, of course. So next time on Pokemon Soul Silver, we are going to wrap up this storyline arc that began so long ago. Here it is.